Richard Wallace, a man whose name echoed in boardrooms, stock markets, and the gilded towers of wealth, lived a life many envied, but behind his empire of glass and steel was a father drowning in regret, for the very fortune that made him untouchable had also built an invisible wall between him and his only daughter, Emily, who had grown up seeing more of lawyers and accountants than of her father's eyes, and while Richard's hands signed checks and bought gifts, they never held her when she cried, never clapped when she triumphed, never touched her shoulder with the warmth of presence, and so when she turned 19, studying at university with dreams bigger than her modest apartment, Richard, sitting alone in his penthouse staring at her photos online, felt the sharp sting of emptiness and realized money could buy the world but not a daughter's love, so he devised a desperate plan, stripping himself of tailored suits and Rolex watches, donning instead the worn jacket of a taxi driver, hiding behind a cracked mirror and a faded cap, his heart pounding with fear and longing as he waited outside her campus, until finally she emerged, her ponytail damp from the misty rain, her shoulders heavy with books and invisible burdens, and when she opened his cab door and slid inside with a sigh, he gripped the wheel like a lifeline, trembling at the nearness of the girl he had once carried in his arms but hadn't held in years, and as he asked gruffly, "Where to?" he swallowed tears, listening to her voice giving an address he knew by heart, then drove through the rain-soaked streets in silence until, desperate for a piece of her world, he ventured, "Tough day." And she, not knowing the man behind the wheel was the very father she longed for, let slip a bitter laugh and said, "Every day's tough, not because of school, but because life feels empty when your own dad doesn't care," words that cut through Richard like knives sharper than any business betrayal, and he forced himself to ask softly, "You don't think he cares?" To which she answered with weary honesty, "How could he? He never calls, never comes, he just throws money at me like money can hug you at night. My friends talk about their dads teaching them, protecting them, being proud, but mine. He's a ghost with a checkbook, and sometimes I wonder if I even matter to him at all," and Richard's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel as tears blurred his vision, for in those words was the truth he had tried to bury beneath skyscrapers and contracts, and when she continued, her voice trembling like the child she once was, "Do you know what hurts most? When I was little, I used to wait at the door, hoping he'd surprise me, but he never came, and eventually I stopped waiting, because hope hurts more than absence." Richard could no longer pretend, could no longer hide behind the mask of a cabbie, so he pulled over, turned off the engine, and with shaking hands removed his cap, turning to face her with eyes drowning in guilt as he whispered, "Emily," and her shock froze her breath as recognition dawned, her lips parting to whisper, "Dad," with both fury and longing in her gaze, and he nodded, tears falling unchecked. "It's me, sweetheart. I had no courage to face you as myself. I wanted to hear your heart without walls, and what you said, it broke me, because you're right. I failed you." But she recoiled with shaking hands, her voice sharp with years of bottled pain. "You pretended to be a taxi driver. You think this is a joke? Do you have any idea how many nights I cried, how many birthdays you missed, how many times I told myself you didn't love me?" And Richard leaned forward, desperate, his voice cracking like glass. "I love you more than life, Emily. I was a coward. I hid in work, in boardrooms, in excuses. I thought if I gave you money it would make up for my absence, but now I see, it never could, it never will. I should have been there, I should have chosen you, and I am so sorry." But Emily's tears fell as fast as the rain outside, and she choked, "Do you even know what it's like to grow up thinking you're not worth your own father's time? To look in the mirror and wonder if you matter at all?" And Richard pressed a trembling hand to his chest, swearing with his very soul, "If I'm lying, let God strip me of everything I own, because none of it matters, not the hotels, not the billions, not the empire. Without you, Emily, I am nothing, and all I want now is a second chance, if you'll give me one." And silence stretched between them, filled only with the rhythm of raindrops, until finally Emily whispered, "I hate you for leaving me. I hate you for making me feel invisible. But I love you too, because no matter what, you're my dad, and I don't want to lose you again, so just promise me, don't disappear, don't break me again." And Richard, sobbing openly now, reached for her hand and pressed it to his cheek, vowing with a voice hoarse from regret, "Never again, my darling, never again. I will fight harder to be your father than I ever fought to be rich." And as she leaned forward, collapsing into his arms with tears of both pain and relief, The hardened millionaire who once measured worth in dollars learned the priceless truth that empires mean nothing if you cannot come home to love. And in that cramped old taxi on a rainy street, a father and daughter, once broken, began the fragile but powerful rebuilding of the only treasure that mattered: each other.